Dude, I just fucking stupidly spit a sunflower seed into my monster.
Dumb as fuck. Are you gonna eat those the whole podcast?
No.
Good.
Why?
Because it's annoying as fuck.
You can't even hear it.
I can hear it really clearly. Huh?
Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill.
Alright, what's up guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys episode number 11 of the Netflix and Chill horror podcast. Joining me tonight is Carly. What's up, Carly?
Not too much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're here to record another Netflix and Chill episode. We should be coming out more regularly. After this episode, I'll have 1986 horror podcast extravaganza on the 22 shots done, even though I did pick up more responsibilities by starting an MMA podcast.
Dude, I roll my eyes every time you be posting about that.
Why?
Because it's just another thing that's going to get in the way of our thing.
Dude, I already posted 2 episodes of MMA cast, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In a week.
And we keep lying to these people and saying, oh, we're going to get back to a regular schedule. We all know what you be doing.
Well, I almost even suggested that we take this show and split it into 2 episodes because we have so many content, so much stuff. Like, there's enough content here for 2 shows, but we decided to just keep it all together. And then hopefully we will be back, to bi-weekly, at least, if not weekly for a little bit going forward. My entire goal was to have, I think, 25 episodes in 2017, and we're over halfway and we only have 11, so that's not going super well, but we could still catch up. You never know.
We haven't quit yet.
Well, we're not gonna quit. I like this show, so
I know. I'm saying we haven't given up like you do on all your other stuff.
Oh, I don't give up on everything. I'm still listen. I am so busy, dude, with like Married with Children, MMA cast. I got the biggest thing is this 1986 show for 22 shots. Like, if you think back, like we were working on episode 100, and then we were working on this giant show. Like, after this giant show's over, like I've literally watched like over 40 movies for this show, and I should hopefully hit around 50. I don't think I will though, because I still have like so many more to go, and a few of them are longer, like 2 hours. So I'm gonna probably not hit my goal. But I talked to Christian this morning, and he's already at 50. So I think he kind of stopped watching now, and I'm a little bummed that a guest is outshining me, which seems to happen every time when it comes to the tally. But after that's done, dude, I'll have so much more time to watch like screeners and different stuff. And we're gonna slow down a little bit on 22 shots to where we're not doing like mega shows every week, because for a while there we were doing like really big shows. Even though I think our next like couple are like trilogies, like, so I don't know. But I should have a little bit more time going forward here. And we'll definitely continue to do this because I like it. It gives me an excuse to watch new films. Jason Lloyd actually suggested we watch one that he's saying is better than It Comes at Night. And
I saw that post.
Actually on Netflix streaming right now, so we might even do that on a future episode of Netflix and Chill. But tonight we have a few things. We actually have like 2 featured reviews, if you will. Both are Shudder exclusives. We're going to review Lake Bodom as well as Among the Living. We're going to call this episode Lake Bodom, so that'll be the featured review, just because it is technically the most newer film of the 2. And then we're also going to talk a little bit of things that we watched, and then, of course, segments and things like that. So, without further ado, let's jump into this bad boy. So, what do you want to start with? I mean, we watched a couple of short things on Shudder, if you want to start with those.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can start with Primal Screen, maybe. I think, well, that's like the second shortest. But yeah, we could just start with that, I suppose.
Okay.
So
what is Primal Screen?
Primal Screen is basically like, I guess it's supposed to be a pilot to a future series of some sort. I think they want to make it a series, but they're trying to see if people like this first, and then they're going to continue on. But it's basically like a show trying to talk about like what your fears were as a child. And the first thing, well, there's only one thing, but it's basically about that movie Magic.
Have
and
you ever
how
seen Magic?
No, I have not. Have you?
No.
Cool. It's on Shudder as well, so you can always check that out. But anyway, basically it shows like the trailer for that movie. I think it's like a 70s horror movie about a dummy, and it's like three people kind of talking about how that trailer scared them and why it scared them. And then it gets into like how dummies are scary, and gets into a little bit about like dolls in general and things of that nature. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty cool concept. Like, I like the way it was filmed. It kind of shows like little kids reenacting, like watching the trailer, and then it shows like the grown-ups talking about the parts of it that scared them. And I like how they get into the stuff that scared them about it, like the little details, like, oh, he looks over to the side and sees someone that you can't see, and that's why it's scary. Because I just like things like that. It makes it creepier. And I was actually kind of creeped out while watching it, so I enjoyed it all in all. What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, the first episode, or the pilot, and I'm not... It's like weird because like they did this really odd, but it's directed by Rodney Asher, who I am familiar from his The Nightmare documentary. He also did Room 237, which is a documentary on conspiracy theorists for The Shining. And he has a very, very, very unique style. Like, this Primal Screen feels exactly like The Nightmare. The Nightmare was a really, really cool movie that I feel like appeals to some people and some people it does not appeal to. The Nightmare was about people suffering from sleep, what do they call it?
Paralysis.
Yeah, sleep paralysis,
Maybe.
where they get like, they have like sort of paralyzed states of like half dream, half nightmares, like things, you know. And they filmed it as if it was a documentary, but they have like reenactments almost. So it's like not filmed like a reenactment. It's filmed like a movie almost. Like, so it's like you're watching a movie, but like it's also a documentary. It's very weird, and I feel like they do that a little bit in here too. He actually, because I asked Shudder what was up with this thing, and Rodney actually replied to me on Twitter. He said, "Could be the start of a series if enough people demand it, we'll make more." So, it could be something that we see more of. If not, it's just a standalone thing. I personally thought it was really neat. I think it would have been maybe a little more effective had I seen Magic, which Magic is on Shudder, so we probably should have seen Magic. But I didn't really know what it was. I just seen that this was a Shudder exclusive, and I was like, okay, let's check it out. I didn't even know it was 25 minutes. I thought it was a full-length documentary. And then you told me that it was only 25 minutes. It definitely hits the nostalgia bone, like where you're like a kid and like things seem so big to you. Like, I remember I was telling you a while back that there was like a voice mail that I left on my phone, like back when we had an answering machine, and in the background of because what it was like, answering machines used to have tapes, like these little tapes that were like 2 inches long, and they were actually like a cassette tape almost, and you would put them in the answering machine, and then it would record on a tape, so your answering machine would go as long as you had tape. And you could like kind of record that in a voice recorder too. But like for some reason on one of the tapes there was a long, tape of it just playing the whole time in our house. And like, my mom was asking me, or my grandma was asking me if I wanted dippy eggs or something. And then you can hear the Halloween 6 trailer playing in the background. And, like, I was just getting flashbacks to that for some reason, like, these, like, moments where, like, you're a kid and, like, things are significant. Like, I remember when I seen, you know, a trailer, because, like, back then you didn't know it was coming. Like, now you know the moment a trailer comes out, because it's on the internet way before it hits TV.
Yeah.
And TV was such a big, important thing back then. You'd be watching TV, and you would see, all of a sudden, Jason would fly across the screen, or Chucky, or whoever, you know, whatever, and you'd be like, holy crap, you know, I didn't know that was a thing. Because that was the first time that it was introduced to you, was on a TV spot, on TV, like, so, I miss that, and that's something that doesn't really happen anymore, like, so I kind of feel like this, episode, this thing tapped into that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, and I do like this. Like, I would love for him to make more of them. So I hope people push for more, because I would definitely watch it.
So hit up Shudder, guys. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, and say that, hey, can we get another episode of Primal Screen? And do it. I guarantee you. Hey, listen. I'm the guy that knows the most about this, right? I mean, I got an Xbox app ready to go on
oh my god!
So,
oh my god!
What?
I don't. No one wants to hear it.
Yeah,
it's over.
Should I
it
tell
was
the
weeks
story
ago.
again?
No, they can listen to like the past episode and probably like 10 of your episodes of 22 Shots and look into all the Facebook pages, and they'll all see it.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, if we all band together and say we want another Primal Scream, we can probably get it. So after that, Carly, did you have anything else on that?
No, not really. Did you give it a rating or anything?
No, I don't rate TV episodes, and I don't count them for what I watched through the year. I know you do, apparently.
Okay, well, we'll talk about a movie later that you counted and I didn't, so I mean,
okay,
I think
well,
we're
let me
even.
just say this. Let's just update the listeners who've been following along for our competition. Just a little brief recap, guys. We have a competition going. It lasts one whole year, and we have to see how many movies we can watch. Whoever watches the most wins the competition and gets to do something to the other person. So I chose that I'm going to take away her microwave for 6 months. And what did you choose?
I'm going to take away your energy drinks for that many months.
It will never happen, but I like your enthusiasm. So what is your current count?
150.
And my current count is also exactly 150. I'm 20 minutes away from 151 though, and you're going on vacation, so.
Well, I mean, I have like the Netflix app on my phone and Shudder app, so I can always watch movies before I go to sleep.
Okay, well, whatever.
So
let's get into our next little thing here. And what is it? What is it? What are we reviewing? It is what is it called, Carly? Go ahead and say
I want you inside me.
What? Jeez, god damn! I did not know that about you and me, and that you wanted that. Jesus.
Oh, dude, I could totally feel you like trying to set that joke up. I could tell you couldn't. You just couldn't wait. Anyway, so I want you inside me. It's like a short. What is this? Yeah, like 16 minutes, 12 minutes, 16.
Yeah, so if I can critique Shudder for a second, they really need to put their short films in a separate section. Like, they need to develop, like, a separate section on their app, because I thought this was a damn movie. I was like, hey, we're going to cover this thing, and then here it's like 13 minutes long, and that annoys me, because I don't want to, like, I'm fine with covering shorts and talking about shorts and things like that, but I at least want it to be, like they should put all their short stuff in one section on Shudder and not mix it in between the movies, because it's very misleading.
Yeah, it did look like it would be a full-length movie, and then you actually click on it, and it's like, oh, okay.
So, what is this 13-minute short about?
Basically, a girl, well, on IMDb it just says a tale of all-consuming desire, which is not much of a thing, but basically this girl has sex with a dude, and then the next day things are, like, weird, and then, like, she goes to a party, and then something weird happens, and it kind of ends.
So what did you think of it?
I felt, I don't know, like, for me, it was pretty basic, and, like, I feel like the story was kind of, like, something you've seen before. Like, I know people were comparing it to, like, a couple movies, but, like, I had never seen the movies, but, like, I know it's been done before, and plus it's, like, I know it's a short film, but I almost felt like it was too short. Like, it was just a little too basic for me, but I thought it was, like, well acted, and, you know, I think it could have been a cool idea. I just think it needed to be a little longer, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, some, like, symbolic things. Like, even the poster itself is a shot from the inside of a cave, which is obviously a, you know, imagery, like vaginal imagery, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some things going on in it, but you're right. It is very basic. It's a cool little watch for 13 minutes. Like, you're not going to be like, damn it, why'd I watch that? But this is not something that, like, even if you put this in, like, a anthology movie, like, it wouldn't be your favorite segment.
No.
But I like films that have to do with, like, sexual things and, like, reproductive organs and things like that. So I like where their head was at. Yeah,
I do too. I like that type of thing too. I think it's disturbing, and you never know what's going to happen. So
yeah,
I give them credit for that. But all in all, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, pretty basic. Yeah. So I don't rate short films usually, but did you rate this?
I believe, I don't know if I wrote it down. I think I gave it like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. So that was I Want You Inside Me, Shudder exclusive, I believe. There's also this thing going on right now on Shudder. I haven't checked it out, but it's like the Summer of Short or something. And there's like a bunch of short films that are out for Shudder. Have you watched any of those?
No, I really haven't, but I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, I do like shorts. I think it's nice because, like, they are short, so you don't feel like you're wasting your time, and you could see what people can come up with in that short amount of time. So I'd be interested in checking some of those out.
Yeah. All right. So what else? What else?
I guess want to move on to Alive.
Yeah, sure. So this is something that we both watched. Is this the last thing that we watched besides segments and featured reviews?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, plus our, like, challenge shows.
Yeah. So, Alive. This is a movie that I challenged you to watch at the end of last episode. It is a film that is debatable whether it's horror or not. You say it's 100% not horror?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. It's got, like it would be a horrifying concept, but, like, it's not played out to be a horror movie. It's more like an action-adventure survival type movie.
Yeah, well, it is survival.
Yeah.
It is, you know, survival type of situations, but it also involves cannibalism, which gives it another notch towards the horror side of things. And it's, to me, it's more scary than A Killer in the Woods. Like, this is the stuff that actually scares me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
and
I can understand.
I love movies like this. If we did a top 10 of 1993 for 22 shots, it would be very hard for me to leave this off my list, even though it's not technically horror. It is a disaster film, which also kind of goes hand in hand with horror. It's technically not a horror film, but it is a survival film, which is very close to horror. Like, is open water horror? Technically, no. But is Frozen horror? Technically, no. But do I lump those films into horror? Yes, I kind of do. Now, Adam Green is a horror director, so it makes sense that people consider that horror, and there is, like, a element to, like, wolves in that film, which kind of make it a little more darker, too. But if you take it on its surface, it's about as horrific as Alive. Like, they're the same type of movie, so, I find it interesting that so many people are willing to call Frozen a horror film, but not this.
See, I feel like Frozen was made to be a horror film, though, and this is made to be, like, the story of these people's lives. And, like, they're, like, it's more, I don't want to say lighthearted, but, like, not as dark and, like, gloomy as Frozen.
I mean, I guess Frozen takes place at night a lot of the time.
Like, do you think Castaway is a horror movie?
No, because I feel like Castaway is not as about the survival, right? Like, because he gets pretty well off pretty fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about a guy being alone with a soccer ball.
It's a volleyball, I believe.
Whatever.
Okay.
But no, this one has much more of a threat to it, while Castaway doesn't really feel like you kind of know that Tom Hanks isn't gonna die. Like, he's not gonna die like 10 minutes into the movie, because that just wouldn't make sense, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
With that said, the debate on whether this is a horror film or not, it's technically not, but we're covering it because I love this movie. I wanted somebody else to see it. So Alive from 1993, directed by Frank Marshall, who, let me see what he's done. I don't think he's done anything that I know. Let me see. Well, he's produced like a million things. Directing wise, though, he's only done 12 things, and most of the... Oh, look, he did a horror film, Arachnophobia. How about that?
I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, when I own it too, but it's been a long time.
Cool.
So, Alive follows a Uruguayan rugby team stranded in the snow-swept Andes for... wait. Courtesy of IMDb. A Uruguayan rugby team stranded in the snow-swept Andes are forced to use desperate measures to survive after a plane crash. I feel like people suck at writing descriptions on IMDb.
They do. There's some like really good ones, and then there's some that are just gross.
Let's do this one. In 1972, the Uruguayan rugby team is flying to Chile to play a game. However, the plane from the Uruguayan Air Force with 45 people crashes on the Andes Mountains, and after the search party, they are considered dead. 2 months after the crash, the 16 survivors are finally... Man, this is like... Why are they gave away the whole story?
Dude, I was like, no, don't.
Why? That's so dumb. Claudio Calvajo, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You need to go back to not writing IMDb descriptions. Because you suck. Anyway, let me give my description. Basically, there's this team of rugby players and coaches and mothers and family members that are flying in a plane to Chile. They crash the plane, and there are survivors who are then like, what the hell do we do? They wait on rescue. Rescue never comes, and it's a fight for survival against the elements, starvation, as well as each other. So, yeah, man, this is actually based on a true story. It's a biography. And the film opens with, I believe, one of the original people who was involved, there have been many, many documentaries on this incident, as well as many documentaries and interviews with the people involved, the real people. This film stars Ethan Hawke, who plays the character of Nando Parado. So all the names are kind of the same from the actual incident. So what did you think overall?
I was pretty impressed with it overall. I thought it was really well made and a good story, and like it wasn't like overly depressing like I thought it would be, and those types of movies get me down, so I was kind of happy about that. And then like, I mean, the cannibalistic type stuff like made me want to puke. And then the whole thing with the plane crash scares me. Like, I'm terrified of going on planes because I think that would suck to, like, die that way. So that freaks me out. So I can kind of see where your horror elements come from, but, you know, I don't know. To me, it's still just, like, not a horror movie, but I did like it. I thought it was really good, and I'm not, like, mad that I watched it or anything.
Okay, so let's just remove the fact that it's a horror or not a horror or whatever, and let's just talk about it as a movie. What didn't you like about it?
The only thing, like, I didn't like was kind of... Well, one thing, I didn't tell you this before, but, like, I felt like some of the characters looked a lot alike, and it was one of those things where, like, I couldn't tell anyone apart. Like,
you know what, dude? To cut you off right now, that has always been a thing with me with this movie. There's so many people, and they all look alike, and they all have the same voice because they all have, like, accents.
Yeah.
Like, and their names are, like, Raphael, and Nando, and Roberto, and Antonio, and Carlito, and Antonio, and Gustavo, and Javier.
Antonio number 2.
And Liliana, and Bobby.
Yeah.
Federico, and Alberto, and Rafael, and Frega, and Hugo. Like,
okay. Like, and then there's, like, a grand total of, like, 3 girls, so, like, they're all guys with, like, long black hair, and, yeah, so that was one thing. Like, when you said Ethan Hawke's character name, like, I couldn't tell you what his name was, like, I didn't remember, but, so that was, like...
I will tell you, I've watched this movie since probably 1994, right? I first seen this when I was a little-ass kid with my pap, and I watched it all throughout my life, at different stages, like when I was 8, and then when I was 12, and then when I was like 14, and then, you know, like all throughout my life I've seen this movie. This was the easiest time I've had recognizing the characters, and I was still confused. Like, like it is easy to lose track of who's who, but this time watching it, I've had the best experience with it, because like I knew who Nando was. Nando was in like a coma at the beginning of the movie when they first crash, and then like him and like another dude like take care of him, and then he comes to, because at first they think he's dead and they're like, good for him because his mom's dead or something, and then he eventually comes to and his like sister's alive, and like he's the one that suggests that they should eat people first. You know, and he's the one that's adamant on getting out. He's like, I'm going to walk out of here or something. You know what I mean? And so he's that dude. And then you have Antonio, or wait, no, Roberto. Roberto is like kind of the leader at first, but he kind of falls wayside and actually eventually dies in the avalanche. But that guy actually didn't die, I don't think. Or no. I'm confused. Sorry. Antonio is the... Oh, okay, so Antonio is the leader guy at first, and there's 2 guys named Antonio. So,
oh, fuck.
So that's why I always thought that there was a thing that was messed up, because the Antonio who's the leader dies in the movie, but I know there was an Antonio who survived.
Yeah, he thought they killed him in the movie for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Or something, but there's actually 2. That's annoying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's a...
Yeah, they wanted to keep the rule.
It's based on reality, so I mean...
Yeah.
Well, it does help that the one Antonio guy's name is Tintin. His nickname is Tintin. They call him that a few times, so that actually does help. But, so it starts out, like, they're pretty much just stuck there, right? Like, when they first crash, they're in rough shape, because, like, a few of them are really injured, and like a lot of them died in the plane crash, and then a lot of them died right after the plane crash, which is accurate to the real case as well.
Yeah.
And then one guy, Antonio, starts to sort of dictate things. He is the one who says they should ration the food, and he's like, and there's like a few people on there who are like in medical school, so like they can kind of help with the wounded and things like that. The pilots are kind of dead, and they're basically have a few rations. Like, they have a shit ton of cigarettes, cartons of cigarettes, and then they have chocolate and wine. That's it. But one good thing about where they landed, like, they are in the snow, so they technically have water. Which water is the most important thing, because if you don't have water, you die in 3 days. Have you ever heard the rule of 3?
No, I don't think.
All right, you die in 3 weeks without food. You die in 3 days without water. You die in, I believe, 3 hours in below freezing temperature.
Damn.
And you die in 3 minutes without air.
Accurate.
So it's like kind of the rule of 3 is, like, you can die, like, yeah, like 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 hours with exposure, and 3 minutes without air.
I think I'd die in like 3 hours without food. like I just don't believe. Like I can't.
You can't fathom that you can live 3 weeks without food.
Live off of fucking water too, of all things. I hate water.
So they come up with an idea to melt the snow. So they have water. They have chocolate, which they get 1 piece of chocolate each a day, and 1 cap full of wine, which is just fucking atrocious. You know what I mean? And basically, there is a plane that comes by, and they assume that they saw them, but then they're like, well, we couldn't see the plane, we can only hear it, and if we can't see it, then they definitely didn't see us. And then another plane comes, and basically that plane is low enough to where they think it saw them. And they're like celebrating, and they all stay up all night and drink wine and eat chocolate and stuff, and they exhaust the rest of their supply.
Dumbest fuck move I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, but it's so realistic though. It's so realistic that would happen.
I don't know. I feel like they should have. I guess so. It's just like, just wait till the next day until you're rescued and then eat everything.
They're fucking starving, dude. You're saying you can't go 3 weeks without, or 3 hours without food, and like these people have already went like 4 days or like 7 days. Like they're like they're just using any excuse that they can to like eat. You know what I mean? They want to ignore the fact that it's possible that they didn't see them. They want to be. They're so dead set on that they saw them that, like, you really have to put yourself in the position of these people. And I feel like you're actually very bad at doing that.
Fuck you.
No, I'm serious. No, like I feel like you don't know what the struggle's like.
No, I get it. Like I'd want the foods too. I'm just saying, watching it sucks because I'm just like, I know they ain't getting saved right now.
Well, yeah, because it's 20 minutes into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
But so basically, like, after that is when they sort of suggest that they should cannibalize the crew. And they're like, at first they're just saying like the pilots, and these people are yeah, like where's Uruguay?
Dude, I don't even know like the difference between a country and a continent and like a state. So
you're dumb as fuck.
I know.
Uruguay. It is in South America, so these people are used to being warm. It is so like for some reason all these people seem Italian to me.
That's what I kept thinking the whole movie too.
Yeah. So anyway, they are very religious, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. I was like, this movie is very based around God and stuff like that, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of like countries are, you know, very, very Catholic. So
yeah.
Like that's why I was thinking they were from Italy too, because like my pap's side of the family is like really, really Italian, and they're like devout Catholics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because Henry used to make fun of me at work because like I'm Mexican and Irish, and he's like, and Italian, and he's like, how are you not Catholic? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like all three of those are Catholic things. But so they do like pray a lot, and they're like, their big thing about not eating people is that like God will judge them and things like that.
And their soul is gone.
Yeah, and then that was a cool little speech there where the dude was like, listen, if heaven's real and God's real, then your body is just a vessel, and therefore it's just a carcass once your soul leaves, so we should be able to eat them.
Didn't you say, like, how they, like, start eating people, like, really fast, it seems like?
I don't know. When did they start eating people?
I thought you said that, like, it seemed
I think
like...
I was talking about a different movie, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think they start suggesting eating people really fast.
I think it's also because it's like a 2-hour movie, but it's like over the course of weeks, so it feels like they waited like 2 days.
Of months, technically.
Yeah,
it's like 2 months.
It feels like they waited like a day, and then they were like, oh, we gotta start eating Joey over there. But like in reality, they were probably starving to death.
So would you eat somebody?
Dude, no, I can't.
Yeah, you would.
I could not. I couldn't. Especially after watching that. Like, I was gagging watching that movie.
There's a reason that all of them ate. Because you literally can't not eat after a certain amount of time. Like, anybody who says they wouldn't cannibalize somebody, they're lying because they've never been in the situation where they're starving to death. Like, your brain will not allow you to starve to death when there's food.
I'll make my brain allow me. I just want to go.
Listen, I'm just saying, if I die, you can eat me.
Thanks.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
And
I hope you taste good.
No, and if you...
I'll miss you. I don't want you to die, you know?
If you...
I don't know what you're trying to get at,
I'm saying
dude.
if you die.
Yeah, if I die, please, I'd like to be buried in a casket.
No,
I don't want to get cremated.
Can I eat you is what I'm saying.
I don't want to get ate.
Come on.
Dude, it would suck. It would suck.
You're dead.
I'd be watching from heaven, and I'd be like, this motherfucker's actually
heaven.
eating me. What? I'll go to heaven. I'm an angel.
Anyway, so they kind of all, like, I think what really helps them is they're like, they're feeling bad that they're eating their friends, and they're like, man, like, we can't do that. And then, like, they're like, well, everybody kind of says, like, hey, if I die, you can eat me. So, like, it kind of makes it okay once everybody agrees, like, if we die, then eat us. So it's like, well, maybe they would have said the same thing then.
Maybe.
And they kind of just go off that. And they do start eating people, and they're pretty, like, cool with it after a while. Like, they're just taking hunks of bloody flesh and putting it in bags and stuff. It's so gross. This
and then, like, when
used to
someone...
make me, like, cringe when I was a kid. It's like, it looks like chicken and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
And when, like, it's like when someone dies, it's almost like, oh, good, more food.
Yeah, right? Because, like, it is a lot of meat. Like, a human body is a lot of meat. And it doesn't rot because it's cold as fuck. So you kind of have a natural refrigerator there with the weather. The only problem is at one point they actually have an avalanche happen to them, and basically that causes all the bodies that they were eating off of to disappear under the snow. Fortunately, like 8 people died in that avalanche, so they have 8 fresh bodies. It's so fucked up, man. But that actually really happened. Like, there's so much in this story that you think, like, oh, well, this would never happen. But, like, you read up on it, and it's like, oh, there actually was an avalanche, and oh, it actually did kill 8 of them. So that was one of those things where I was like, I expected that was just for the movie.
Yeah.
And, it turned out that was something that actually happened, and it actually killed the last remaining female.
Yeah.
Which is pretty messed up that no females lived.
I know.
There wasn't very many to begin with, but...
Yeah, there was literally, like, 5, it seemed like.
Yeah. So, what else didn't you like about it? Because I feel like you hated on this movie.
What are you talking about? I told you I gave it like
about?
I hated the fact that it wasn't a horror.
Okay, well, I'm just saying if it's a movie.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what I hated on, and then you're acting like I hated on the movie. I already told you I gave it a solid rating, so I don't get where the hater thing is coming from. Because I actually liked this movie. I was just, the whole time, I felt anxiety, because I was like, man, I can't count this as a watch, and it's like a 2-hour movie, and, like, I don't like long movies. I guess that's my only other complaint. But, like, it's not like it wasn't boring. I mean, it's not like it was boring or anything, so...
Yeah, well,
it wasn't that bad.
To kind of just go into the bit of information that I dug up on it. So, on the first day where the crash actually happened, 5 people died in the crash, 7 people were missing, and 33 were alive. On day 2, 5 more people died, which brings the dead total to 10, missing 7, and alive 28. On day 9, Susie... one of the females died. On day 12, 6 missing people were found dead. So that brings the dead total to 17, and missing / presumed dead down to 1. Then 27 are alive. On day 17, 8 people died in the avalanche, leaving the dead total to 25 and the alive total to 19. And then in November, on day 34, another person died, which was sucky. And then day 37, Raphael died. So that was just a couple days later. Raphael. And then on day 60, Numa Turcati died. So that leaves 16 survivors. On day 61, Parado, Canessa, and Vicente set off for help. Then they found the last missing body in the snow. And then they found... on day 64, they sent Antonio back to the fuselage. On day 70, Parado and Canessa were rescued. And then on day 71, 7 people were rescued. And on day 72, the last 7 people were rescued. So 72 days.
Wait, why wasn't everyone rescued at the same time?
Because you can't helicopter 14 people on one helicopter.
Yeah, bring more fucking helicopters. Why would you leave? I'd be so mad. Like, don't leave me there for day 73 when everyone else is home cuddling in their beds on day 71.
Dude, it's so sad that 8 people died in that avalanche. It really is.
I can't believe only 5 died in the plane wreck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, that's lucky as hell.
Yeah.
But...
well, actually, 5 died in...
Oh, and then 7 were missing, right?
Well, 5 died in the fall from the aircraft. And then another 4 died after the crash. 3 died during the first night. And then... Yeah, so that's kind of it.
Yeah, still pretty solid numbers. A lot of
people survived. Like 16 is quite a bit.
Yeah,
I would be pissed. Like that one person died on the 60th day. If they would have only lasted like 11 more days, they would have been okay.
I know.
That sucks. But there was also a thing where one of the pilots who was still sort of alive when they crashed told them where they were, but it was the wrong information. So everything that they did was kind of wrong. And actually, if they would have went a different direction, like just 18 miles away or something like that, there was actually an abandoned hotel in which had certain supplies there, which was just really close to them, you know. It might not have been. It might have been even less than 18 miles. I can't really remember. Another thing is they were focused on getting the radios to work, so they accidentally found the tail of the plane, which had batteries in it. And they took the radios to the batteries, but something to do with the type of batteries they were, it would have never worked. Even if they knew what they were doing, it wouldn't have worked, so they just wasted a bunch of time there. But they basically walked out of there, man. They walked a really, really long way. Nando says that the worst night of his life was when they made the sleeping bag out of the insulation. And it was night 1 of them trying to sleep, the 3 of them in that sleeping bag. He said it was the worst night of his life. But yeah, so the story of a cannibalism. Well, let's go ahead and rate this bad boy.
All right. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
Alright, I mean, I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
So you're not actually a hater then?
Yes, as I said earlier, I'm quite a liker on this one.
Yeah, I'm actually coming in right with you, dude. I absolutely love this movie. It's a movie that I've watched literally my entire life almost. You know, I think I was 4 when I first seen it. It came out in 93 when my pap rented it on VHS when I was a kid. I watched it with him, and I've been watching it ever since. So I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic movie. If you've never seen Alive, it is on Netflix streaming right now. It feels good to actually watch something on Netflix since we've been shuttering it lately.
I know, I feel like a fraud.
I know. So, that is Alive. And now we're going to move into our first of 2 sort of featured reviews. And we are reviewing a film that was my pick. It is my pick episode, right?
Correct.
And that is Among the Living. And it was directed by Alexander Bustillo and Julianne Murray. These are 2 guys who have been working together for a while. Their original film that they directed was Inside, and that is considered to be one of the best horror films of all time. It actually made our top 100 greatest horror films of all time. It's probably that and Martyrs are probably the 2 biggest from that French extreme new wave. Then they went on to direct Livid, which also got really, really good reviews. It's a film that I have not seen. And this is their junior effort, I guess it would be. I don't know if that applies, because like, you can say their freshman effort and then their sophomore effort. But I don't think junior applies to film, so. I don't even think freshman does. I think sophomore is the only thing that is actually a term. Anyway, it's their fucking 3rd film, Among the Living. They also directed a segment in ABC's of Death 2, and have directed the newly created Texas Chainsaw Massacre film titled Leatherface, which comes out later this year on video on demand in September. So they've done some interesting stuff. They're French, and they've directed 3 French films. From what I understand, they're 3 for 3. I think Inside, Livid, and Among the Living are 3 highly regarded films. Among the Living is a 2014 film, and it actually is getting its sort of debut in the U.S. this year. Like, it actually has not been released in the U.S., nor on DVD or VOD or any type of streaming service. I believe that this is the first time that it's available via wide release. So it technically counts for 2017 releases. So people with top 10 lists, maybe check this one out in case you want to, in case it's a contender. But basically it follows 3 kids that skip school in order to explore an abandoned film studio, an abandoned film studio lot. I don't, does these things ever just read awful to you? 3 kids skip school in order to explore an abandoned film studio lot where they catch sight of a woman being dragged across the lot by a masked man. That's one sentence. It's one sentence.
Yeah, it
like,
really
I feel
is.
like they could have broken that up into a couple sentences.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but whatever.
So, Among the Living.
Among the Living.
Go ahead, you start.
Okay, well, yeah, I started watching this movie, and I didn't, look into it or anything, because, like I've said before, sometimes I just don't do that when it's, your pick, or even my pick, for the show. I just kind of like to go into things and see what it is for what it is. So, I didn't even know it was, a subtitled film, and that's not a problem or anything, but I thought the kids were cool because they were kind of realistic group of kids, boys who pick on each other and mess around and skip school and get into trouble. So it seemed it was kind of realistic, kind of I mean, I wasn't bad in school, so I don't know if people skip school and, like, burnt places down, but, you know, you might know that because you were a delinquent.
I did know a kid who burnt down a church before by mistake, like him and another dude. So people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry I kind of blanked out, but what was you saying?
I said, like, I kind of like the kids, like, how they, like, kind of mess with each other, call each other names, and, like, it's always weird when it's subtitled, too, and you're reading stuff that's, like, yeah, shithead, and, like, bad words. I don't know, that's always, like, funny to me, but, and I thought...
Dude, listen,
like,
I gotta just stop you real quick. AMC Waterfront Classic Movie Nights is gonna be playing The Mist in August. We gotta go.
When in August?
August. They haven't announced yet, so it's August.
Okay.
It'll be a Wednesday in August. I think.
Cool.
Probably. Maybe not, because it's an extra screening. So, yeah. So, continue on. I didn't pay attention to anything you said, so what was you saying?
You asked what I was saying 2 times. Everyone else heard what I was saying, I think. I thought this movie was pretty creepy at some parts.
Dude, it's actually scary. Fuck creepy.
Yeah, like,
it's actually scary. Like,
creepy is the word. I think creepy's better than scary. Creepy
it's
is
scary.
creepy.
It's scary.
Creepy is
Dude,
creepy
it's
to me.
fucking scary. Like, the part
It gave
where...
me the creeps.
No,
Okay,
listen,
go.
shut up. It's
What part?
scary. The part
What?
where the dude is above the baby's crib.
Dude, I almost peed my pants.
Exactly. You don't get that from being creepy. You get that from being scared.
That was creepy as hell.
It was scared as hell.
I was creeped out. Like,
You
I
were
get the
scared.
creeps. Okay, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I agree. That part was, like, frightening. Okay.
And I was like, why does this guy have such a little peep? Did you know that too?
Yeah, I did. And then his whole body was, like, disproportioned, though. That made it, like, really scary.
Yeah.
And, like, it reminds you of, like, Michael Berryman. Is that his name?
Yeah, it does actually.
Something like
So,
type of dude like that.
I actually, which makes sense because the character is supposed to have birth defects.
Yeah. It was the same type of deal.
So the movie actually opens with, like, and this is actually the first film I've seen of these guys. I do own Inside, but I just haven't got to it yet. Which, dude, I am a fan of these guys. Like, from this film, I was just like, I like their directing style. Their films feel raw and, like, personal. I love hanging out with these 3 kids. It reminded me of, like, a Stand By Me or a, like, film like that. Did you, like, It? Did you get that vibe, too?
That was kind of what I was trying to say, like, 10 times in a row earlier when you kept blinking out.
Oh.
That's the type of vibe. Like, I like the kids and the way they, like, mess with each other, but you could tell they're, like, buddies, and they're, like, all they have, kind of, friend-wise.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of, like, this movie almost feels like it could have went, like the route of, like, a Larry Clark film, or like, I was expecting that almost, or something, where I was like, I thought it was just going to be about, like, these delinquent-ass kids, like...
Yeah.
Like, that terrorize some old dude or something. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
thought
did
it was
too,
going to go
actually.
that way, but it goes a completely different direction. I like the setting, this, like, abandoned film lot. There's a part where they kind of tie off that urban legend about, like, this kid basically has a shit ton of stuffed animals, and, like, there's, like, a clown head buried in the stuffed animals, but he doesn't have a clown stuffed animal.
I think
it's kind of creepy.
Like I said, they do that in that other movie, Amusement, and, like, both times it creeps me out. Like, he's, like, downstairs, and the babysitter, or his sister, I forget if that's a babysitter or a sister, but, like, she's, like, naming all his stuffed animals, and he's like, I don't have a clown. Like, as soon as he said that, I would be out of that house.
Yeah. And it's actually quite a brutal movie. Like, they kill, like, people. like a lot of people. Like,
People?
Like, kids.
Yeah. Like, and the kids are, like, young looking.
Yeah, they are really young kids.
Like, 13.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, to me, like, I really want to check out Livid and their other film now, because from what I understand, this is their least good from what most people say.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me high hopes for these guys, because apparently they make some good shit.
Yeah, because this was not bad or anything at all, I didn't think.
What was there? So what else did you dig about this one?
I just, like you said, I like the setting too. Like, I thought, like, man, that would be cool. Besides, like, the bad stuff that's going on, that would be cool to have, like, a abandoned, like, movie set that, like, people can just roam around and do whatever at. It would be cool to have, like, an area like that around here or something to mess with, especially if you're a kid, like, play hide and seek and, like, do, like, kid shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like, I just liked how it was creepy and, like, really brutal. At the, like, the only thing, like, I felt like the end almost got maybe a little too extreme for my liking. But
what do you mean by extreme?
Like, with the, like, brutalness, I guess, of, like, the dude, the tiny peep dude, just, like, going crazy, berserk.
Like maybe a little torturous or something?
Yeah, like, just a little out there, I guess. It went from creepy to, like, torture-y.
Yeah.
Those are two different things to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really have a huge problem with it, but I understand where you're coming from. There maybe are some questionable decisions made by characters.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can usually suspend my disbelief with stuff like that a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the opening to this film, like, a lot. Like, I really like the opening, the cold open.
Yeah, I kind of forget it a little. Like, I know what you're talking about, but, like, I can't.
It was with
completely.
The mother who's pregnant, and then the shooters, and then she, like, I just kind of liked where I didn't see this movie going any way that it went. Like, because at first I thought it was going to be, like, this Rob Zombie type thing, where it's, like, the stepdad's a piece of shit or something, but, like, not really. Or the dad,
yeah.
Rather. Because he looks like a pretty big scumbag. Like,
yeah.
But it's really the mom who's, like, psycho. And, you know, I like how that whole thing went. She's, like, slit her jugular, which was pretty cool. And there's some, like, decent gore and things like that in this movie, but is there anything that you didn't like?
No, not really, besides, like, the brutality at the end. Like, I kind of, like, it had, like, its creepy moments for me, and, like, I appreciate that. Like, I didn't expect it to actually scare me, I guess. Like, I thought it was just gonna be a slasher, or, like you said, like, with an abusive dad, or, like, kids picking on someone. Like, I didn't think it was gonna have really scary type elements to it, like it did, so I was surprised. What did you think
of the twist?
Oh, yeah, that was, I thought it was alright.
Like, did you expect that?
No, I didn't really. Like, I don't know, that whole ending scene, I kind of
I don't like the very, very end of the movie where it's almost like, oh, well, let's set it up for a sequel. Like, because you know damn well this is the type of movie that does not need a sequel, nor will they ever make a sequel for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the very end I didn't really care for, but, like, that was kind of it. So, do you want to get into ratings for this one?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really have many problems with it. It's kind of fuzzy in my memory right now, but, like, the only parts I really didn't like was, like, towards the ending, where it was, like, torture-y, and then, like, the very, very ending wasn't the best, but all in all, I thought it was a pretty good, scary movie that I would recommend people checking out, so I give it an 8 out of 10.
Alright, yeah, I really, really dug this one. It definitely had, like, a lot of influence. Like, I almost got, like, a Halloween vibe at certain times and stuff like that. I really like these type of movies. It's, like, kind of original, but it's a very well done movie, like, directing wise, acting wise, like, camera work, music, lighting, things like that. Very scary at times, not creepy. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Solid stuff.
Douche bag.
Yes. Hiccup.
Yes. Alright. So moving along.
Let's go ahead and get into our final review here. This is our featured review, and it is titled Lake Bodom. This is a Shudder exclusive from Finland. How many films have you saw from Finland?
I think it's Have You Seen? And I'm not sure.
What did I say?
How many films have you saw?
Okay, fuck you.
Okay. Big laugh. But anyway, I don't know. Like, I don't pay... Like, what movies are from Finland?
Like, none.
Oh, okay. Then no, I haven't seen any.
Actually, let's go ahead and see. I'll Google that right now.
Alright.
So, Lake Bodom, like I said, is from Finland. Shout out to Marco Veer something. And James Cox. Both those guys are awesome. I love their accents. When James called in for the episode 100, like, I was just like, this guy sounds so fucking cool. You know, shout out to those guys. They're from Finland, and they get their own horror movie here with Lake Bodom. So these movies are also from Finland. Rare Export's probably the most known. The White Reindeer from 52, Sauna from 08, Lake Bodom, of course, Dark Floors from 08, Skeleton Crew from 09, The Witch Comes Back from 52, The Moonlight Sonata from 1988, looks like a Bigfoot film, Bunny the Killer Thing from 2015. So there's been a few, not a ton. Probably the most known is Rare Exports, and now Lake Bodom, because Lake Bodom's been getting some love. It's a film that's Shudder exclusive, and people seem to kind of dig it. It's a little throwback. It was directed by Taneli Mustonen, who directed this and a bunch of stuff I never heard of. Also Finnish things. It seems like this is his first horror film. And it was written by him along with Oleski Haverin, or whatever you want to say.
I don't know what that is.
Who wrote Ella and Friends, which I don't know what that is. So he hasn't done anything that I know either. So Lake Bodom. This one follows every camper's worst nightmare came true at Lake Bodom in 1960 when 4 teenagers were stabbed to death while sleeping in their tent. That is not a good description.
It's not.
We need to start doing Shudder descriptions or something. So
yeah, they're not that bad on Shudder.
Do you have that up now or no?
No, I was looking at the
Jesus,
stupid
Carly,
IMDb.
you're so unprepared.
I'm sorry!
Jesus. So
I'm sorry!
Lake Bodom, if I could describe it, it follows 4 teenagers who go out to this place called Lake Bodom and hang out. 2 of the teenagers are kind of trying to reenact a murder that happened in the 1960s. Not really reenact it as in like kill their friends, but like just kind of set it up to where all the pieces are like it's almost like a repeater type thing, like where everything is kind of the same that it was back when it happened, to maybe like conjure up some bad dude or something like that, the killer from the original murders, to kind of because they're into it, they're like obsessed with this guy. Meanwhile the girls tag along. And this one's going to be a very interesting one to talk about because there are twists in this film that you kind of can spoil very easy, and we do want to remain spoiler-free for the most part because this is a new film that a lot of people probably haven't seen. So let's get into this one while trying to remain spoiler-free.
Yeah. Weren't the girls, like, tricked into going there? Didn't they, like, say there was going to be other people there or something just to get them to come along too?
I'm pretty sure that the girls knew that they were going to Lake Bodom, but they thought that they were going to a cabin or something and not just a couple of tents.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a cool idea with going back there and, like, trying to... Like, I like the guy's idea to kind of investigate and try to conjure up, like, the original killer or whatever, because that's something that I always thought would be cool to go do, like, go to, like, some urban legend area or something like that and try to see if anything paranormal or something happens. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Did you look into this film afterwards at all?
Like the actual true events?
Yeah, there apparently were true events that happened.
Yeah, I did look it up real quick because I wasn't sure. Because sometimes movies like act like they're based on true events.
I had no idea, like not even a slight. I just found this out now when I typed in, when I searched it on Google, Lake Bodom.
Oh, you didn't even look into it?
I had no idea that there was actual murders.
Yeah, I looked it up afterwards, and like that actually made it kind of creepier because it's like, geez, like when you actually read the story, it's like scary. Like I wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool to make a movie.
Actually, like gave me even that like affected my rating actually just now.
Yeah.
Because it makes more sense now a little bit that these people would do that.
Yeah, and I like how it's not like they're trying to recreate that true story. It's kind of like they're going off of that story, and it's like, hey, let's go back here to where these true events happened.
That's like some shit that I would do.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I would love to do something like that.
Like, we do that right now. Like, Sam Edwards just went to Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like people do that. They're just kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. So the original murders, like in the real tale, the real thing that happened, Saturday, June 4th, 1960, 4 Finnish teenagers had decided to camp along the shore of the Elegant Lake near the city of Espoo, Atiramener. The lake was known as Lake Bodom. The 4 people were 15-year-olds at the time. Accompanying them were their 18-year-old boyfriends. And between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. during the early morning hours, Sunday, June 5th, 1960, Mackay and Boisman were stabbed and bludgeoned to death by an unknown person or persons. Gustafsson, the only survivor of the massacre, sustained a concussion, fractures to the jaw and facial bones, and bruises on the face, but lived. A state of shock after everything that had transpired that night, he stated that he had even seen a vision of black and bright red eyes coming for them. At about 6 a.m., a number of boys birdwatching some distance from the murder scene had reportedly seen the tent collapse and a blonde man walking away from the scene. The bodies of the victims were discovered at 11 a.m. by a carpenter by the name of Rizzo. Siren had been jogging upon discovery. Bodies, he subsequently alerted the police, and police arrived on the scene at noon. So that was the...
You, like, cut out through half of that.
Well, we'll pick up on my recording, so
okay, because I was like calling you out, and you were still reading, so I didn't know if you heard me or
no,
not.
That's you cutting out, actually.
Oh, okay.
Dummy.
What do you mean? What? I didn't hear you for, like, what? I didn't hear any of that description, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
so wouldn't that be you cutting out?
No, that would be you cutting out.
Oh, okay. Smart-ass motherfucker, stupid piece of shit.
Anyway, so what do you think? What do you think about the idea of them taking a real story and kind of recreating it? It actually adds a whole nother level to the film.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, I like how it's not a true story. Like, they didn't, I mean, like, it's not based off true events, like something like Alive. It's just like them taking that story, like a legend kind of, and then acting like they're real teenagers going back to explore it, but it's like based off something real. I think it's kind of unique and cool, so I do like that aspect of it.
Yeah. There's so much cool things about this. Like, in 2004, 44 years after the event, Niels Gustafsson was arrested by police. This was the last survivor, on suspicion of having murdered his 3 friends.
Yeah, that's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Was he let go though, or was?
Yeah. The trial started on August 4th, 2005. The prosecution called for life of imprisonment for Gustafsson. It was argued that the re-examination of old evidence using modern techniques such as DNA profiling raises suspicion towards Gustafsson. The defense argued that the murders were the work of one or more outsiders and that Gustafsson would have been incapable of killing 3 people given the extent of his injuries. On October 7th, 2005, Gustafson was acquitted of all charges. On his acquittal, the state of Finland paid him 44, whatever those are, Finnish dollars, euros actually, for mental suffering caused by the long. I mean, it does make sense. Like, he had a broken jaw and shit. That's a pretty hardcore setup if you break your own jaw.
Yeah, you might die, like, from doing something like that, so...
Yeah, so, okay, so let's get into the movie. Basically, you have these two male characters and these two female characters. There's a little bit to do with sexuality, like, they're teenagers. You get the sense that the parents of the lead girl, the blonde, is kind of like strict, right?
Yeah, they're like cunty people, I think, because they're like, because basically that girl is upset about something that happened to her at school, and like the parents aren't helping. They're like acting like she's a total disgrace to the family, so it makes it like much worse.
Yeah. For
her. So it's like, good job, you're making your kid more depressed.
Yeah. So anyway, these four go out to this lake where they smoke a little weed. The guys have a plan of kind of like reconstructing the events of this murder from 1960 and essentially try to conjure up maybe the murderer or something, which is a weird thing to do, but it's still kind of fun. Like, I don't think they actually suspected to conjure up any kind of murderer, you know what I mean? But just like wanted to hang out with these chicks. And then some killer does show up and starts chasing and attacking, and then we go through most of the film. This is going to be a very hard film to review. That's why I brought up the real life events and talked about that for so long, because our review is going to be very short, because most of the movie is twists.
It really is. Like, it's like a couple minutes in, not a couple minutes, but like less than halfway through the twist happens, so it's like, yeah, can't really say much.
Yeah, but I think I actually like the twists. Like, I think they're pretty good. But I will say that it does get a little tad bit convoluted with some of it, but I feel like it works enough to where you can accept it. And one thing that I absolutely loved about this movie is the music and the look of it. Like, it feels awesome. It's beautifully shot. There's some great shots in this movie. The music is phenomenal. Like, I love the music in this one. I even, am... Like, I love this movie, actually. Like, I know that you're a little lower than me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really remember the music, but
what?
I did, like... Dude, I watched this like 10 months ago, since you were busy making MMA podcasts and couldn't record with me, so I don't want to hear it.
Dude, this movie has like great music. It's like this like it feels
Sing it for me.
Man, it feels like, it doesn't even feel like throwback that much. Like, it feels like a modern throwback. Like, it's a modern music that is attempting to sound throwback, but that's not a diss. That's like a like. It reminded me of, like, Maniac, like, the movie, the remake, where it's, like, it has this modern look and style, but very raw, like the original, you know what I mean? Like, this whole movie actually kind of reminded me of that type of movie, which is, I really love that.
Yeah, I agree, I liked the setting and the look of it. I thought it looked cool. I just can't really remember music or anything like that, but I did like the look, and I liked the characters. They weren't too bad. Like, I like the guys, I think, more than the girls.
I thought the casting was really good in this movie. I liked all four characters, even though it didn't feel like all four of them would necessarily hang out.
Yeah, definitely.
The two dudes felt like they were like very different. Like, one is like a complete nerdy looking dude, while the other one looks like a cool guy with like neck tats and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, like, about all the weirdos and losers I hang out with, like you, and then I was like, yeah, this is actually kind of realistic.
What if, like, you're actually the loser?
I'm not,
dude?
though.
Like, what if you are, though? What if everyone says that about you?
No one says that about me.
Everyone does.
Everybody's like, JP is awesome.
No one likes JP.
Yeah, right.
JP sucks dick.
So, but what is your problems with this movie? Because you sound like a hater to me.
I didn't hate it. It's just the whole thing with the twist, like the first twist, I guess you could say. Like
the first twist makes sense, though.
It was just too.
You just missed it that those characters had a pre-existing thing.
No, I don't think I missed that though. I think you think it's something more than it is.
No. It is more than you think it is. You think that the character it's a one-sided thing, but it's actually a two-sided thing. But one of the characters was moving away from that two-sided thing. And
no, dude.
Yes.
I don't think so. Yes. I think one was. Stop talking! I'm trying to get my opinion out.
Your opinion sucks.
I want everyone to hear me. I think one just thought something more was happening than what was happening.
They were both.
Well, you quit interrupting me.
I know what you're saying, and it's dumb.
No. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for an audience of people, not you. Oh, silence. Okay. Anyway. So, like, one thought it was a little more than what it was, and then she sees something happening.
Stop saying she. Spoiler.
He sees something happening. They see something happening. And it's like, oh, damn.
No, here's what happened. Two characters have a thing. Those characters have had a thing. But one of the characters is moving away from that thing. The other character wants that thing to exist. So that character creates a scenario in which will protect their thing that they have. So that is what happened. You just didn't see it that way.
Is there proof to that
yes,
in the movie?
Watch the movie again. Maybe pay attention to it this time.
I feel like there isn't, but I mean, anyway, like, that's not even, like, the part that really bothered me that much. It was the whole convoluted, like, I hate when, like, you get this, like, Scooby-Doo type, like, flashback, like, oh, well,
no,
first...
that was one of my favorite scenes in the movies.
Dude, it made me cringe. It was so cheesy.
It explained the motive.
Yeah, it was too much.
But it had great music and, like, filmed really
I don't remember the music.
Well,
I'm saying, like, it was just way too, like...
I know what you're saying. You're saying it's too on the nose, but I feel like it was done so stylistically with the music and the way that it was told that I could accept it. Like, you know what I mean? You have to look at it, Carly, you have to look at it like this. The characters are not seeing that flashback. She's just telling her the story. You understand?
Yeah, I know.
We're just seeing a visual representation of that. So that's why you have to think about it that way, and it's less cringy.
Yeah. To me, the visual representation just isn't for me, you know?
So how would you have wanted that done?
I don't know, I just didn't want that.
You don't know. You can critique it, but you don't know how to do it right. That sounds like a bullshit statement. A bullshit one.
I don't like the twist to begin with that much either. So it's like, I didn't care at that point, and then, like, you get this huge thing, and it made it even worse to me, and then, like, the other thing that happened I did like, but, like, I don't know. It was just not for me.
You suck. You suck bad. This movie is great. This is a great movie, guys. Check it out, please. Do yourself a favor. Like, yes, it is a little convoluted. Yes, there is... It kind of probably that wouldn't happen that way. But I really liked it. I really thought that it was like a decent story, that I didn't see it going that way. And even though it's like a little hard for it to go that way, it still like made sense to me. And I liked it. So, do you want to get into ratings?
I guess so.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright, well... Like I said, this movie was not awful. I just was not a fan of the twist and the explanation of the twist. But I did like... do you have something to add?
Uh-huh.
Do you have something to add?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering. It sounded like something was wrong. I was just wondering. But anyway. So, for me, I don't know, this rating might be a little too high for you, but I gave it a 7 out of 10.
A little too high for me?
you probably thought I gave it like a 2. But I didn't.
I thought you were coming in at like a 6.5, so not too much higher.
All right. What's your opinion on it then?
I really, really like Lake Bodom. It stylistically, it's filmed really well. The music is great. I love the setting, and I actually like the characters. Like, I like spending time with them. I thought it was pretty cool. And I actually like the twist. Like, I thought, I like it, even though I admit that it probably is unrealistic. But I really, really, really like the second twist. Which, actually, I kind of saw that one coming, so I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't. But, like, I seriously did not expect the first thing to happen. Like, I expected the second thing to happen from the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the second twist I thought was going to happen from the beginning. So it was kind of cool that they, like, threw me for a loop there. I think that this movie is great. Like, I actually talked myself up another half point while reviewing this and knowing that it's based off of a real story and fits kind of really nicely into... It's like they had half of a movie already made for themselves, and then they just added some stuff to it. I like that. So... I'm going to go ahead and come in at a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So that is our review on Lake Bodom. And the final thing that we have for you guys before we get out of here is our segments / challenges. So what you got?
Okay, I watched Making a Murder episode 2. And I'm going to make this brief because I feel like it's hard to talk about a show like this because it's like a crime type show and there's so many different elements to it. So basically, episode 2, well, to bring it back, episode 1 was kind of like, dude goes to jail for 18 years for the rape of a woman. And, like, it turns out he did not do the crime, and they don't find that out till years later, and like it's kind of like a lot of suspicions with the people involved in the investigation weren't doing their job right, and like it just seems like everything just kind of got thrown on this Stephen Avery dude. So he gets out of jail, everything's great, and then you get to episode 2 where basically things are still going okay for him. He talks about how first of all, like, he had a wife and, like, I think, like, 4 or 5 children, and they kind of all, like, abandoned him because of his circumstances, which is kind of sad. But then he ends up getting a girlfriend, and he's talking about how, like, he really likes this girlfriend, but then she gets into some trouble with, like, a DUI and stuff like that. So they kind of have just, like, bad luck with crimes in their like, in his family and friend group. And then basically this girl, Teresa, do you remember, like, who is Teresa? Is she, like, a family friend or just a random person? Do you remember from the show?
Is that the one that it's his cousin?
No, it's not his I think it might be, like, a friend of his like, I think they all knew each other. I think she might have been someone who, like, was, like, bad, though, and, like, didn't really help out his case and got him locked up, so she goes missing.
Oh,
and
you mean the girl that's found murdered?
Yeah.
Oh, that is... Okay, this is a huge important thing. How do you not know this?
Because it's been, like, a long time since I watched the episode.
You need to start taking notes, then.
Okay, go on.
So, you're talking about the person who came to his house for the auto trader.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a person, a professional, like somebody he was working with to sell a car.
Oh, just a person, so it wasn't a huge deal. Okay, so she is found murdered, and, like, since she was, like, last seen at his place doing the car stuff, so, like, obviously it kind of points back to him. And then he's, like, upset. He's like, man, it's, like, all coming back to me. It seems like they're never going to get off my case. And then basically he gets freaking arrested again. And there's, like, bits of evidence in his place, but he is still maintaining his innocence as he did with the first crime. So that's basically your full plot of that one. And I mean, I do find the show pretty interesting. I do find shows like this to be depressing, though. Like, I always hate just seeing, like, people's lives get turned upside down and it being, like, true, real crime stuff.
But you can't look at depressing as a bad thing. You always do that.
It's a bad thing to, like, it just is. I don't know.
Like you can't, like, I like depressing movies sometimes because it makes you feel an emotion. You know what I mean?
I like the emotion of laughter.
Then have a comedy podcast.
Okay, I will. I'll start it, and then I'll blow off Netflix and chill while I do it.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But, so continue. You like shows like this, but you find it depressing.
Yeah, okay. And, like, so I don't mind continuing to watch it or anything. But,
I feel a little bit of hater mentality seeping through on this.
It's not hater, it's just, like, not
like, I
my
feel like
taste.
you don't want to watch this.
Like, I want to watch a Kevin Hart special instead.
Dude, oh my god. That, like, seriously, that's the worst thing you've ever said to me. This is literally one of the best pieces of anything ever created. And you're hating on it with Kevin Hart, which is the worst comedian of all time.
Oh, I knew you were going to be one of those people. Ugh. One of those miserable-hearted people who don't find funny things funny.
No, how about you watch the Dave Chappelle specials or the Joe Rogan specials and stuff?
Okay, I'll watch those next, because I watched all the Kevin Harts. But anyway, so Making a Murderer, I do like what I've seen so far. You know, it's just not, like, because my aunt's, like, all into shows like this. She would probably love it. And, like, I remember growing up and her watching, like depressing shit like this on TV, and when she was watching me, and I'd be like, dang, this got sad vibes to it. But, like, it's just, it's cool, you know? It's a cool show.
I'm disappointed.
I don't know,
should be
like,
loving this right now. Well, honestly, it doesn't really start getting going till, like, episode
3. And I wanted to watch, like, one episode per podcast, too, so it's like I'm going really slow with it. So
So what's your verdict right now? Like, you said you thought he was innocent with the first thing, right?
Uh-huh.
The rape. Do you think, like, you don't know much about this situation yet, but do you think he's innocent on this?
Like, it seems like heavily that he might be guilty, but it also feels like somehow maybe someone's, like, trying to frame him. Just because he's, like, already gotten himself underwater before with the first incident. So it's just really hard to say, because he's, like, really, like, there's a part where they're interrogating him and he's just saying, like, I didn't do it, like, over and over again. And it's like, I still feel bad for him, kind of. So it's like, I'm not feeling the total guilt vibe, but at the same time, it's not looking good for him.
What's so cool about this going forward, Carly, is it's like if you saw a movie with, like, the most twists ever. Like, that's what this is, but it's all actually happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like, you're about to get your fucking mind blown going forward, because crazy shit happens every episode. But I can't wait to hear what you have to say next, because now they're really going to start getting involved in it. It's kind of interesting. There's so many elements to it, because, like, he has a whole, like, he was about to get money from, like, the state. Like, he was suing the state for that imprisonment and shit.
I know, like, it's just a weird thing, because it's, like, a total kick to his balls, but at the same time, he might be guilty, so it's, like, fuck him, so
yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Alright, so we'll talk more about Making a Murder, Episode 3, when we return.
Yes.
And now on to my challenge, which is the worst challenge in the history of challenges. We have Alien... What is it called?
I don't even remember. I think it's like unaliened files.
Unsealed alien files. I looked it up. And episode number 2 is called Cracking the Alien Code. Alright guys, JP here with a little post-edit clip. I actually completely forgot everything about Alien Files, or Unsealed Alien Files, episode 2. So I pretty much forfeit the challenge. I mean, I really am not into this show at all, and it's just not that good, honestly. Like, it's just way too conspiracy theory. They talk about everything as if it's fact, and they don't do it unbiasedly. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that I lose. So Carly wins fair and square. On the next show, I'll see what she wins. Maybe she'll make me do something or something like that. Probably something sexual. I mean, why wouldn't she? But yeah, so post-edit clip here, and we'll wrap up the show now. Peace. Alright, so thank you everybody for joining us once again for Netflix and Chill. This was a fun episode. I talked about 2 films that are contenders for my top 10 of the year list in Lake Bodom and Among the Living, as well as I got to revisit one of my favorite movies of all time, talk a little bit of segments and some short films and stuff. It was a pretty fun episode. What'd you think?
It was alright.
Hater. The hate is strong with this one.
It was like a 7 out of 10 episode.
You're a hater. You are made of hate.
7.5, okay? Final answer.
Alright, so what do we got next show? Episode 12. It's your pick. Do you know what you're picking yet?
I mean, I have some idea. Well, I have like an idea in mind, but not 100% sure yet.
Okay. Lame.
Okay. What about We Go On? Or have you?
Yeah, that's a Shudder exclusive.
Yeah, and I saw it was on some people's top 10 list.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could do. Yeah. So next week, guys, or 2 weeks from now, we will talk about We Go On, and we may have some extra reviews. Not 100% sure yet. I'm finishing up on 1986, and then I'm gonna finally finish the last episode of Orange Is the New Black. See, that was like 13 hours of TV that I had to watch. 2 that was taking up a lot of my time. So
oh my god!
What?
You are fake.
How am I fake?
Get your priorities straight.
It was Orange Is the Black new season.
Buddy, don't you love me?
I would know, but what do you
Don't
mean?
you love this podcast?
I had to watch Orange Is the New Black.
You didn't, though. You had to watch Among the Livings and the stuff, all the stuff, so we had to watch.
Okay. Well, I'll see you guys next time as we review We Go On, and I might give you guys my final thoughts on Orange Is the Black. Orange is the New Black, season 5 or 6 or whatever they're on. I know Carly would be really excited to hear about that. And that is it for the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter. We now have a Twitter account, which is pretty cool. I like that we have a Twitter account. And we tweet some things and stuff, right?
Yeah, sending out them tweets, doing them hashtags.
Yeah. So, see you guys next time for
episode 12
of
Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast.
Got a DM from a teenage beauty. Wants me to come to a spot and watch Goonies. So I slipped me a roofie. Then slid my dick in a slippery booty. Rolled up some reefer on the lower back while I beat that beaver. In the bedroom theater. Pulled it out of her ass, wiped off of my t-shirt. She want red wine and dinner, bitch. You getting red vines and Twizzlers. Soft porn, cock in the popcorn, show some respect. RoboCop song, blew me till the teeth hurt. Bust 2 nuts, that's a double feature. Who would've thunk it? Netflix, the new code word for fucking. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill.